Irritating to see them go after Mikey. Mikey didn't do anything ever to Van Halen. Mikey was the most loyal guy in the band. He was the guy.
What if the heartbeat of one of rock's wildest bands was silenced? Not by tragedy, but by a betrayal that cut deeper than any riff. Michael Anthony, the unsung hero behind Van Halen's thunder, lived a saga of loyalty, loss, and jaw-dropping twists that'll rewrite everything you know about rock stardom. Picture a kid with a trumpet, a contract that cost millions, and a digital bombshell that shattered a legend's world, all while building an empire of Ferraris, penthouses, and untapped secrets. How did one man's quiet strength hold a band together, only to be erased from its story? Buckle up for a roller coaster of shocking confessions, hidden vaults, and a legacy that refuses to fade. This isn't just a rock tale. It's a mystery that'll keep you glued to every pulse-pounding moment. Can you handle the truth? It all started in a modest living room in Chicago, where the soulful wail of Walter Sobolewski's trumpet sparked a fire in his son, Michael. Growing up surrounded by music, Anthony soaked in his father's passion, picking up the trumpet himself and marching in school bands with a discipline that'd later anchor a rock revolution. But by 13, after his family uprooted to sunny Southern California, the call of rock and roll proved too loud to ignore. Trading brass for bass, he borrowed a friend's Fender Mustang, tweaking it into a makeshift bass guitar with a teenage audacity that screamed potential. His dad saw the spark, gifting him a Fender Precision bass and a Gibson amp, tools that turned a curious kid into a musical force. What if that one swap, trumpet for bass, had never happened? We might have missed out on a legend entirely. Out in the buzzing San Gabriel Valley scene of the early 70s, Anthony cut his teeth with Snake, a gritty trio blending blues and hard rock. Fronting the band with vocals and bass, he owned school dances and dive bars, building a reputation as a guy who could hold a crowd. Then came the night that changed it all. Opening for Mammoth at Pasadena High, he lent their faltering crew his gear, a move that caught Eddie and Alex Van Halen's eye. Soon he was jamming in their garage, his bass lines locking in with Eddie's riffs like they were destined for it. By the time David Lee Roth strutted in, Van Halen was born, and Anthony's life was about to explode. But here's the kicker. Behind those roaring amps, a storm was brewing that'd test everything he'd built. As Van Halen stormed LA's club circuit, Anthony's magic shone through. His high harmonies danced with Roth's growl, while his bass kept the chaos in check, fueling hits like "Runnin' with the Devil" from their 1978 debut. That album didn't just launch a band, it launched an era, with Anthony's understated brilliance tying it all together. But while fans cheered the glitz, he was quietly stacking a fortune that'd make jaws drop. Ever wonder how a rock star turns fame into a financial empire? For Anthony, it wasn't just about the music. It was about playing the long game. Cue the Lux life. Anthony's garage gleamed with a Ferrari 488 GTB and a Porsche 911, machines that roared as loud as his stage presence. His wrists flashed with a Rolex Submariner and an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, nods to a taste refined by years of success. Real estate? He snapped up California gems, while a stake in a private jet outfit kept him soaring in style. This wasn't reckless spending, it was calculated swagger. Then came Mad Anthony's Hot Sauces, a spicy hit that spiced up his bank account, alongside upscale eateries and a recording studio that cradled new talent. But the real genius? He insured it all: health, cars, properties, even his career, shielding his world from the chaos of rock's roller coaster. That foresight paid off. Diversifying into sauces and studios wasn't just smart. It was survival, cushioning him when band tensions flared. Insurance wasn't flashy, but it was his safety net. A lesson in guarding what matters. And mentoring young artists? That's legacy with heart, proving wealth isn't just cash. It's impact. Yet, as his empire rose, cracks formed in Van Halen. Loyalty he'd poured into every note got blindsided, not by a fight, but by a cold, digital reveal online. What went down to shatter that bond? Stick around, because the next chapter's where it all unravels. From a trumpet-toting kid to a rock titan with a penthouse view, Anthony's ride teaches us plenty. Spread your bets. Music alone won't cut it. Protect what you earn, because life's unpredictable. And lift others up. It's the richest move you can make. But as his star burned bright, a shadow loomed, one that'd redefine his place in rock history, leaving us all wondering what's next for the man who held Van Halen together. Back in the late 70s, Van Halen wasn't just a band. It was a movement, with Anthony's bass and sky-high harmonies gluing the chaos together. While Eddie's solos dazzled and Roth's charisma stole the crowd, Anthony was the steady pulse, his professionalism a quiet force amid the band's wild energy. Fans roared for Jump and Panama from the 1984 album, a 10 million-copy juggernaut. But behind the scenes, a seismic shift was brewing. Ever wonder what it feels like to have your legacy rewritten in a single moment? For Anthony, that moment came with a pen and a contract that'd haunt him for decades. The year was 1984, and Van Halen stood atop the world. But backstage, before a roaring crowd, Anthony faced a gut punch. Eddie, Alex, and Roth cornered him with a deal that stripped his songwriting credits and royalties, retroactively. Under pressure, with the clock ticking to showtime, he signed, trading millions in future earnings to keep the peace. That choice, made in a haze of loyalty, cost him a fortune from 1984's massive success and beyond. Licensing deals, reissues, greatest hits albums, all cash cows he'd never graze. Yet Anthony stayed silent, pouring his heart into every gig. Why did he take the hit? The answer's a lesson in sacrifice that'll leave you stunned. Even as his bandmates tilted the financial scales, Anthony's personal wealth soared. His net worth, a modest $1 million in the late 70s, climbed to $10 million by 1984 and sits at an estimated $70 million today, with projections nearing $100 million by 2018-2030, thanks to savvy moves. His real estate empire? A $15 million portfolio, from a Malibu beachfront to a Vegas penthouse, each by a nod to his love for California's sun and Nevada's buzz. Cars? A Lamborghini Aventador joined his Ferrari, while a Patek Philippe Nautilus gleamed on his wrist, a step up from his Rolex days. A share in a Gulfstream jet kept him skybound, insured to the hilt. Health, assets, career, all locked tight. This wasn't just wealth. It was strategy, a shield against rock's unpredictability. Anthony's hustle didn't stop at music. His Mad Anthony's hot sauce brand exploded, raking in millions, while steaks in LA restaurants and a Nashville studio fueled his entrepreneurial fire. A collab with Sammy Hagar on a tequila venture added another revenue stream, each move insured against loss. His secret? Diversify, protect, persist. Unlike peers who burned out, Anthony's discipline, honed in school bands, kept him grounded. But as his bank account grew, his band ties frayed. Could one harsh word unravel decades of brotherhood? Eddie's next move would test that bond to its core. By the 90s, Eddie's public jabs began to sting. In a 2015 Billboard interview, he claimed Anthony needed hand-holding on every note, a jab that sparked fan outrage. Anthony fired back, calm but firm, insisting he'd mastered every track solo. No evidence backed Eddie's claim. Those words weren't just critique. They were a personal blow, cracking a friendship forged in garage jams. Anthony admitted the hurt ran deep, yet he never lashed out, choosing grace over grudges. Fans rallied, praising his tight bass and vocal flair, but the damage was done. Why would Eddie turn on a loyal ally? The truth behind their rift is a puzzle that'll keep you guessing. As communication with Eddie faded, Anthony's role in Van Halen shrank. By the mid-2000s, he was sidelined, a quiet exit that left fans reeling. After Eddie's passing in 2020, Anthony shared a bittersweet regret. No closure, no final talk. That loss hit harder than any contract, a reminder that even rock gods are human. Yet his wealth and ventures kept him afloat, a testament to his foresight. His financial playbook? Spread your bets, ensure your wins, and never stop creating. As Van Halen's saga twisted, a digital shock awaited Anthony, one that'd redefine his fight. What secret did the internet reveal? The next chapter's where it all comes undone. As the 90s rolled in, Van Halen's golden era began to tarnish, and Anthony felt the shift. By the 1998 album Van Halen 3, his bass thumped on just 3 tracks. Eddie took over the rest, a quiet signal of change. Fans noticed, whispering about his shrinking role, but Anthony kept rocking the stage, his harmonies lifting live shows to legendary heights. Compare that to his 70s glory, anchoring hits like Ain't Talkin' 'Bout Love, and you see a man caught between loyalty and a band pulling away. Ever wonder what it's like to watch your dreams slip through your fingers? For Anthony, it was a slow, silent fade that set the stage for a bigger fight. The 2004 reunion tour with Sammy Hagar should have been a triumph, a chance to relive the magic. But behind the sold-out arenas, Anthony faced a bitter pill. A contract slashing his pay, treating him like a hired hand, not a founding member. He signed, driven by love for the music, but the sting lingered. The tour dazzled, yet it couldn't mend the cracks. By 2006, the ultimate blow landed. Not a call, not a meeting, but a gut-wrenching rumor online. Eddie had replaced him with his teenage son, Wolfgang. No warning, no goodbye, just a digital dagger. How does it feel to learn your legacy's been rewritten on a screen? Anthony's heartbreak fueled his next move. He didn't sulk, he soared. Teaming up with Hagar, Anthony co-founded The Other Half, a nod to their Van Halen days, delivering electrifying shows that proved his spark was alive. Then came Chickenfoot in 2008, a supergroup with Hagar, Joe Satriani, and Chad Smith. Their debut album stormed the Billboard Top 10, with Anthony's bass and vocals earning raves. Chickenfoot 3 in 2011 cemented their cred, showing he wasn't just a sideman, he was a force. Add Sammy Hagar and The Circle, dropping the chart-topping Space Between in 2019, and you've got a man rewriting his story with every riff. What's the secret to bouncing back stronger? Anthony's answer lies in his unstoppable drive. Financially, Anthony was untouchable. His $70 million net worth, projected to hit $100 million by 2030, grew from $15 million in the 90s through sharp investments. His real estate empire, valued at $20 million, spans a Hawaii retreat and an LA penthouse, each a testament to his knack for prime picks. A McLaren 720S joined his car collection, while a Vacheron Constantin overseas watch screamed understated wealth. His Gulfstream jet share, fully insured, kept him mobile, while health and career policies guarded his empire. Ventures like Chickenfoot's merch and a winery with Hagar poured in millions. Lesson? Reinvest your wins and keep creating. Anthony's playbook for staying rich and relevant. But the past wasn't done with him. After Eddie's passing in 2020, whispers of a tribute tour swirled. Alex reached out, Satriani was tapped for guitar, and Anthony's name was central. His authenticity was key. Yet, by 2022, it all collapsed. David Lee Roth balked at the tribute's tone, clashing with Alex's vision, while Alex's health faltered, stalling plans. Anthony, ever the pro, stayed ready, but felt the weight of another lost chance. Could a single disagreement bury a legacy? The unraveling of that dream left fans aching, and Anthony reflecting on bonds never mended. From Van Halen's peak to a solo soar, Anthony's journey screams resilience. His financial wisdom, diversify, protect, innovate, kept him thriving where others stumbled. But as he rocked new stages, a final twist loomed, one that'd test his heart and redefine his place in rock's pantheon. What secret did the shadows hold? The next chapter's where the truth breaks free, and you won't want to miss it. The early 2000s saw Anthony sidelined, his Van Halen days dwindling to a painful close. By 2020, Eddie's passing cast a long shadow, and fans clung to hope for a tribute tour, a chance to see Anthony back where he belonged. Talks buzzed in 2021, with Alex reaching out and Joe Satriani eyed for guitar. Anthony was game, his heart set on honoring Eddie. But by 2022, the dream crumbled. Roth's resistance to the tribute's vision clashed with Alex's fading health, leaving Anthony stranded once more. Ever wonder what it's like to lose a shot at closure twice? For Anthony, it was a wound that cut deep, yet he stood tall, his legacy unshaken. Amid the wreckage, Anthony's financial empire shone brighter than ever. His net worth, from $5 million in the 80s to $70 million today, is on track to hit $120 million by 2035, fueled by relentless hustle. His $25 million real estate portfolio boasts a Napa Valley vineyard estate and a Miami beachfront condo, each a savvy bet on prime markets. A Bugatti Chiron purrs in his garage, joining his McLaren, while a Richard Mille RM67-01 watch screams elite taste. A private jet lease, fully insured, keeps him jetting, with health and asset policies locking in his wealth. Ventures like a craft brewery and a music academy in LA rake in millions, but the Van Halen saga wasn't just about Anthony. Valerie Bertinelli, Eddie's ex-wife, emerged as a fierce guardian of his memory. In 2023, she vowed to block any biopic while she's alive, fearing Hollywood would twist Eddie's complex life, his music, his struggles, into cheap drama. Married to Eddie from 1981 to 2007, she lived his highs and lows, and the thought of seeing their story sensationalized hit hard. She even half-joked Selena Gomez could play her, but her stance was firm. No film, no distortion. Can one woman shield a legend's truth from Tinseltown's glare? Valerie's fight adds a layer of heart to this rock epic. Wolfgang Van Halen, Eddie's son, carried the torch with equal passion. Through Mammoth WVH, he's carving his own path, dodging comparisons while honoring his dad's genius. In interviews, he's slammed fans chasing nostalgia, urging respect for the band's raw history. Rumors swirl of a vault packed with unreleased Van Halen tracks. Steve Lukather hinted at enough for new projects. Wolfgang's cautious, insisting any release would honor Eddie's spirit, not cash in. Could a hidden gem rewrite rock history? The possibility keeps fans on edge, with Anthony's role in any future nod still a question mark. Anthony's own path stayed vibrant. His work with The Circle and Chickenfoot kept stages rocking, his bass and vocals a nod to Van Halen's glory days. Reflecting on his journey, he's made peace with the past, mending ties with Wolfgang but not Roth or Alex. His financial wisdom shines. Diversify like he did with breweries and academies, protect your assets with ironclad insurance, and chase passion over grudges. Compared to his 70s rise, today's Anthony is a mentor, a mogul, and a survivor, his impact rippling through rock and beyond. But what's next for the man who held Van Halen's heartbeat? A final secret looms, one that could redefine his story. As the Van Halen name rests, Anthony's legacy roars on, through music, money, and a heart that never quit. His story teaches us to build smart, love fiercely, and rise above betrayal. Yet whispers of that vault and a lost tour linger, leaving us wondering, will one last riff bring Anthony back to the stage he built? Stay tuned, because the echo of his bass is far from silent.